Hey guys, it's Susicom back again with another video. In today's video, I'm gonna share with you guys some of the strategies which I have implemented to make sure that your Stripe account stays healthy, that you keep processing payments, and you never run into the risk of having your Stripe account suspended or banned, because everyone knows how that bad is for your business. You just basically lose pretty much 60 to 70% of your revenue if you end up having your Stripe account banned. So why your credit card payment processor is the number one most important factor when running an e-commerce business. Your credit card payment processor is literally the central nervous system of your e-com business, because if you do not have any credit card payment processor, you miss out on 50 to 70% of business. On my e-com businesses, I have between 50 and 70% of my transactions done through credit cards. So this just goes to show how important it is to maintain a healthy Stripe account and make sure that it stands the test of time and you keep accepting your customers' transactions through your Stripe account. It is probably the most important factor when running an e-commerce business. And if you neglect it, you run into the risk of running into a major issue. The number one most important metric of your Stripe account, as you may or may not know, is the dispute rate. It's basically equal to the number of disputes divided by the total number of transactions. It is the number one metric you have to obsess about on a daily basis to ensure that it stays under the risky threshold, which is around 1%. Now, this threshold is not set in stone, meaning that for some accounts, it might be slightly above that or even substantially above that. I've heard of accounts that have gotten closer to 2% dispute rate and which have not suffered any impact that affects their ability to process payments. But this is just as a safety precaution, something you want to stay under. So you have to do your absolute best to stay under 1% dispute rate to not trigger any of the red flags in Stripe's backend. So what happens if your dispute rate exceeds the threshold? If your dispute rate exceeds the 1% threshold, you can expect the outcomes below. These outcomes are not set in stone, but they are very likely to happen. You can either be hit by a rolling reserve, which basically means that 25% of your revenue generated through Stripe will be held for around 60 days. Or worse, you can have your entire account banned and you can only appeal once. If your appeal does not go through, then it's over and you are not allowed to accept payments on Stripe's platform anymore. Now let's see what exactly has a direct impact on dispute rate. Bad customer support. If you do not treat customer support as your most important priority when running an e-commerce business, then chances are your customers are going to be unhappy. And if your customers are unhappy, they are much more likely to call up their bank and just force the refund and get their money back by filing a chargeback against you. Also, if you are very rigid when issuing refunds to customers, let's say, for example, you have a customer who's unhappy about his product for whatever reason, whether that be defective product or he just doesn't like it or whatever it is, it's always best that you just issue a refund and save yourself the headache and hassle of having to go through the chargeback, which not only would eat up 30 minutes or 1 hour of your time to gather the compelling evidence to have a chance at winning it, but you also run the risk of getting your dispute rate higher, which is a direct contributor to account bans, as we have just discussed. Bad quality products, like I have just said, they have a direct impact on the dispute rate. Shipping delays. If your products suffer major delays with shipping, which happened to me a lot of times, then that is going to trigger a wave of chargebacks that will definitely affect your dispute rate. In case of delays, just make sure that you be proactive, that you send out a couple emails to all of the affected customers who will have their orders delayed. Make sure that you tell them exactly what's going on with shipping, give them an estimated time of arrival for their package. So that way they know what to expect and they will not think that they are being scammed or that they will not have their package delivered. Lack of transparency on website for shipping times. If you do not show clearly your shipping times on the website, then this is going to lead to some lack of transparency on website for shipping times. If you are not very transparent on how much time it takes exactly for a package to ship from your warehouse and how much time it's going to take for it to be delivered to your customer's address, then chances are your customers are going to have some wrong expectations. They're going to think that they will get the product much earlier than what it's going to actually take to deliver it. And that is going to lead to chargebacks. No shipping status update notifications. This is again something that a lot of e-commerce business owners neglect. And this is one of the best things that you can implement to make sure that you keep your customers informed at all times. And the more informed your customers, the better, the lower the chances of them calling up their bank and filing a chargeback against you. And the last thing is fraudulent orders. Again, this is your responsibility to make sure that all the orders that go through your website are not fraudulent or do not have any suspicious metrics. You have to make sure that the Shopify billing address matches the billing address on file on the credit card. And always check Shopify's fraud analysis tool, which is available on your order page. That alone is going to give you a good idea of whether or not that order is going to be fraudulent. If it's very likely to be fraudulent, it's going to have either a moderate evaluation or high one. In both cases, you should consider refunding the order so that you do not suffer a chargeback. How to keep a low dispute rate? You should always strive to have stellar customer support. What I mean by stellar customer support, you should always be replying to your customers' inquiries within less than 24 hours. Ideally, anything above that is not good and it's going to have a direct impact on your customer satisfaction levels, which in turn impacts your dispute rate. You should always issue refunds when you have to. Be transparent with your shipping times on your store, like I just said. Make sure that you sell great quality products. Make sure that your quality control is on point, and send emails and SMS updates to customers whenever tracking status updates. Like I said, this is extremely valuable, and there are many apps which help you to do this. One of them is Aftership. So with Aftership, you have the ability to send email notifications to your customers as soon as the shipping status of the package updates. For example, if the package goes from in transit to out of delivery, the customer is going to be informed about that status change, and it's going to just give the customer peace of mind, which is very valuable to you and your dispute rate, right? Always refund fraudulent and suspicious orders ASAP. I know that for some people it might be tempting to process a fraudulent order that has a moderate evaluation, but trust me, it's not worth the hassle, so just go ahead and refund it. My main obsession every single day was to keep my Stripe account healthy, operational, and running smoothly for the long run, because I knew that if I were to lose it, I would basically just lose my entire business. So I could really not afford to allow that to happen. So I did everything in my power to make sure that it never happens. But unfortunately, what happened is that at a certain time, my supplier had issues with the logistics, and I had a lot of orders which were being delayed, and that triggered a panic response from my customers, and a lot of them ended up filing chargebacks against me. Eventually, that led to a substantial increase in my dispute rate, which unfortunately led to the dreaded ban email that you receive from Stripe telling you that your account is banned because of a substantial increase in disputes, and you can appeal it. So I thought about what is the best way for me to appeal that ban, and I had the idea of having ChatGPT write the appeal letter. And I am very glad and fortunate to have had that idea, because if I didn't, I don't think I would have crafted a letter that is remotely close to the quality of the letter that ChatGPT has written for me. So what I did is I just gave ChatGPT all of the following information to craft a killer appeal letter. I gave my brand history, our great customer reviews on Trustpilot and other review platforms. I sent links to these reviews, the reasons which led to an increase in our dispute rate, meaning the shipping delays, why they happened, and why they happened in that specific situation, the steps we will take to drastically reduce our dispute rate, and most importantly, our implementation of a chargeback prevention solution, which is the strongest measure that we are going to implement, since it's basically going to dodge 99% of all the future incoming chargebacks and contribute significantly in lowering our dispute rate. So thanks to ChatGPT's killer appeal letter, thankfully the account was reinstated the same day. I was extremely happy that it was reinstated, because I knew that the chances of having a successful appeal with Stripe are not the best. Really happy that it was recovered. So that is why I decided to share with you guys what I did exactly to write that appeal letter. So if you ever run into this situation, consider using ChatGPT to help you craft a very good appeal letter that is not going to go unnoticed when you submit it to whoever is going to treat it at Stripe. The ultimate solution for a ban-proof Stripe account, something I came across recently, is a chargeback prevention solution. What this is exactly, it's basically a software that will completely eliminate your fear of chargebacks, losing your Stripe account. The way it does this is it gives you alerts every time a customer calls up his bank to file a chargeback against you. So it gives you a 24 to 48-hour window to either refund the transaction or accept it as a chargeback. Refunding the transaction will simply prevent the chargeback from hitting your account, although you will lose the transaction amount and the alert fee, which is around $29. You can also accept the chargeback, and let it go through and affect your Stripe account and as a result your dispute rate, and have a chance at submitting evidence and your money. But you have to weigh the cons of each option and see which one fits you best depending on how low or high your dispute rate is. For example, if you have very low dispute rate, you can afford accepting the chargeback and not take the risk of losing the money. But if your dispute rate is very high, above 0.7, 0.8%, then I highly recommend that you just refund the transaction so that you drive your dispute rate down to a very comfortable level, and then you can start accepting chargebacks to stop losing money and have a chance at recovering your lost revenue. Think about it. Losing 1 to 3% of your sales and not ever having to worry about losing your Stripe account is a million times better than having a chance of recovering 1 to 3% of your sales and running the risk of losing your Stripe account, meaning 50 to 70% of your business. So the solution that I am using, which I came across a couple months ago, is called Chargeback. It has allowed me to just get rid of all stress and just sleep very peacefully at night, knowing that my Stripe account is bulletproof and it's never gonna be banned again, since it's gonna dodge 99%, of the chargebacks. When you implement this solution, you can rest assured that your dispute rate is going to significantly be reduced, since the chargebacks will not hit your Stripe account again. In the back end of this solution, you will be able to see the alerts, which you will be notified of either by email or SMS, depending on what solution you choose. Whenever a customer calls up their bank to file a chargeback, you will be immediately alerted and you will be given 24 to 48 hours to either accept the chargeback, let it hit your Stripe account, and like I said, have a chance at recovering the money by submitting evidence, or you can refund the transaction and not have it translate into a chargeback. Since implementing this solution, I've been extremely happy with how useful it is, and it's totally worth the $29 fees you have to pay for every alert that you get. Since for me, making sure that I keep running my Stripe account for the long run is priceless. So I will leave a link down below for you guys to check out this solution. If you have issues with your dispute rate, if you resonate with what I've shared with you guys here as far as stressing about losing your Stripe account, and you've been looking for a solution to help you keep your Stripe account in good standings and just never worry about losing it in the future, then I highly recommend that you check out this solution. And it's definitely gonna take a lot of the stress off of your mind. So yeah, thanks again guys for watching this video till the end. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the comment section below. You can also reach out to me directly on Instagram. You can DM me at usicom. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And if you feel that this video is valuable to you, if you feel that this video brought you value, please consider hitting the like button. It would really mean a lot to me, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you again in the next video.